Okay, one thing I want to point out is this calibration glass. You want to make sure it's on your calibration mark. I already set this one earlier tonight. I don't normally do it about once every couple of months. You might want to check it every time you use it. I don't know, mine seems to never change. So if you're not set right, maybe you're over tensioning and while you're popping. So because I modified my table, I took off this aluminum block that used to swivel right here. So I just go ahead and use this 1/2-inch aluminum bar. I'm actually going to make that a permanent fixture for doing different size frames. But since I don't have to use that clamp this time, we'll use our factory piece there. Now it's possible we're running out of air here, so I may have to assist the table a little bit for the sake of the video. I didn't want the compressor kicking on. This is a 272. We're starting at about 30 newtons. And this one's been used a couple times. Hopefully, because I had this set for the 205, we don't just rip it right out of here, but okay, as you can see, this is 272 and we have that at 50 newtons. And 50 newtons. 272 will hold 50 newtons. I believe this the chart shows somewhere in the 60 range. This one's been work hardened, so I'm going to leave it at that 50. If your mesh has not been work hardened, you may be pushing your limit there a little bit. It takes a couple tensionings to bring your mesh up to that type of tension. 50 is max on these MZXs, by the way. If you go much more, you're going to start really bending the frames. Some of them will already have a curve to them. That one's at 50. Actually, we're a little bit over here on the sides. 52 there. We're about 56 there. I can let a little bit of air off here. I do like them to be within 2 newtons. I actually have a chart that I keep. So it looks like we backed it off enough now that we loosened it up. We'll let a little bit more air pressure off. We're at 50 there. We're about 50, 53. I'm going to leave it as 3 newtons. They say 2 is where you want to be at. I've actually done some of these MZXs at 60 without them bending, but I don't recommend it. And there you go, there's a 272. We're actually a little bit over. We're at 54 newtons on this. And I'm going to leave it there. We're going to use it. And again, It's 272. I know I wrote it, but trust me, it's 272. I mark all my frames in like 3 locations, plus on the actual original mesh. Actually, this one's got it up here in the corner, which I must have done before I put the mesh in from a loose piece. And there you go, there's a 272, 50 newtons, very tight screen, very nice to print off of, especially if you're a manual printer. If you're an automatic, I guess this doesn't really matter that much to you, but those of us that are manual printers, I use like a 30-second off contact, 16 maximum. On a 272, I don't want to be pushing it a 1/16 of an inch. So I use a 30-second off contact, very light pressure when I'm printing. And I'm using a 60 durometer. I'm leaving a nice ink coat without smudging, smearing the ink in, pushing it in. If you use these type of tensions once or twice, you'll never want to use anything else. Trust me, I did it once at this type of tension, and I've used it ever since for the last couple of years, and I wouldn't use anything else. I will show you that in my shop, and I got a very small shop here, there's a whole bunch of rollers there. We'll pan around, there's a whole bunch of rollers there and a washout sink to be done. Here's for jobs, plus the one we just stretched out. If you look around, there's not one static screen, with the exception of my numbering system, in this entire shop. There's my M&R 6.6 Lawson 12-foot dryer, all in a 16x20 garage. There's the exposure unit I picked up. It was a metal, it was a halogen with black lights. I took everything out, made it a metal halide. I built this shutter here out of metal, welded it all. It's manual right now. I plan on making it automatic later on, integrating it with this really nice timer that came with it. Right now it's just manual, but it does the job. I'm exposing anywhere from 45 seconds to a capillary type thickness of like 50 microns or so. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. On a 128, I'm probably up about 2.5 minutes with a capillary thickness. So, old National screen dryer, box that I built for just storing screens. Everybody says you got to have this yellow light on. There we go. I'm opened up to the fluorescent here. Those are coated screens, ready to go, all except for the 128 there. And I don't worry about it. I don't use the yellow light a whole lot, if at all, anymore.